Hi everybody, and we are back on the MPM page, or it is the Thrive When Life Throws You Lemons page. I am Laura, or Lola, whichever you want to call me. Let's get that glare off of there again. I hope everyone's doing well, okay? We want everyone to do well, of course. We don't want anyone not to feel well. However, our chronic diseases and things in life, hey, it happens, But we're going to talk about lab values today, okay? We're going to talk about some labs and what they do and why they're important, things like that, okay? Couple of things, though. Now, when we're getting our labs done, how many times have you gone into that lab and they can't get you? They miss 5 times. You're going for an IV and they can't get you? Holy moly. Okay? So one way we can help that and reduce how many times that we've been stuck is to do some exercises with our arms. How about getting a water bottle and doing some curls while you're watching TV? Okay? During the commercials. Okay? Water bottle is about 16 ounces. It's about a pound. And that builds up the circulation in your arms, which then increases the size of your veins and your arteries to increase your your body needs to increase the blood flow. So your muscles need more oxygen, needs more nutrients, things like that. So it increases the size of the vessels. It also helps with the elasticity of the vessels. So it's very good for you. Or maybe you have those 1 pound weights or something that you have. A lot of people get those at the beginning of the year, things like that, and then we never use them. So during the commercials while you're watching TV, commercials are generally about 2 minutes or so. So just casually sitting there, or if you're on a long car ride, do it while you're sitting in the car. This will increase the size of the vessel, so you'll have a better chance at that phlebotomist or that nurse getting an IV or getting that vein hit the first or even second time for you. Be easier to find for them, okay? Also staying nice and hydrated. Guilty, don't do that enough. To help with that, okay? So those are some tips on getting a decent lab value. Also make sure to call the lab ahead of time before you go. Ask them, hey, do I have to fast before this lab? Are there any medications that I should or shouldn't take before this lab to make sure that my test results come out the best? Because there are some vitamins that you shouldn't take before certain lab results, because we always want our labs to be as accurate as possible, okay? The other tip on getting labs done is using the same lab. If you go to your doctor's office one time and then you use maybe like a LabQuest or something the next time, those lab values could possibly vary quite a bit, giving you very different results. So then you're like, hey, yeah, my hemoglobin was 12 this time and it's 16 this time. Well, you used a different lab. So it could vary, very much so. So sometimes using those results and keeping that, that's kind of like maybe an outlier for you when you go back and you look at all your results, okay? So sometimes using that same lab all the time and consistently gives us a better idea on where we are. One tip that I always love to give people, and this is for you to give to all of your family members, all of your friends, anything, when they are feeling their absolute best and they're feeling really good, tell them to get to their doctor and have all their lab work drawn any testing that the doctor will order or their insurance will pay for, okay? CBCs and BMPs, if their doctors will pay for a stress test, a chest x-ray, anything the doctor will pay for, anything your insurance will pay for. And why is that, you say? Well, there's a baseline. You guys need a baseline. If you ever do get sick, what were your lab values before? Do you guys know what your lab values were before you got sick? How do we know that you were okay before? Did you have this before, or was this something you've always had? An example is when I am a nurse, and we'll go and someone shows up and you're like looking at their x-ray, and the doctor looks at them and says, "When did you donate a kidney?" Patient looks at you very oddly and says, "I've never donated a kidney." Well, you've only got one kidney. Well, this 48-year-old patient looks at you and says, "No, I don't. I've got 2 kidneys. What are you talking about?" Well, it's a birth defect. That patient never knew he had only 1 kidney. Well, he could have been doing something for many years to protect that 1 kidney. It's very important. There are medications, there are foods, there's a lifestyle thing they could have been doing to protect that 1 kidney. Many a times we've had people come in and they've had heart catheterizations, and the doctor will come in and say, "Well, you've got a heart vessel in your heart that's very, very small. And yeah, it looks like it possibly have been a birth defect. And, now you need, some kind of because your other vessels are clogged, now you need an open heart because, well, if they would have known possibly, from possibly a stress test or something to that effect, they could have been on possibly maybe some cholesterol pills or something to that effect. So having that that blood work, knowing as early in life as possible, you do have that baseline, and telling your doctor about familial history, he can kind of pay attention, and so you can slow down the progress of maybe high cholesterol that runs in your family or heart disease that runs in your family, things of that sort. How about those lovely screenings we all love so much? That no one really loves at all. How about mammograms? Everybody hates that colonoscopy, but that could actually save a lot of lives. Men love that lovely testicular test when they go to the doctor. But you know what? That could save a life. Believe it or not, that's a huge one. Very preventable cancer. And yeah, it's uncomfortable, and a lot of people don't want to be bothered, and it's like, oh no, I'm not going, I'm not having anybody touch my business areas. These are all tests that can save lives, especially if they're caught early. Very, very preventable. Nobody likes them. Trust me, nobody likes them. They're very miserable. But they save lives. And, in the beginning, like your colonoscopy test, if it's too early for your insurance to pay for it, they sometimes, at fairs and through different websites and things, they send you the little card, and then you have a bowel movement, and you smear a piece of your feces on the card, you mail it in. If they see blood, things like this, then they say, hey, you should go, and, and that might be a way for your insurance to pay for it, because you've shown the card, then you take that result to your doctor. Your doctor says, hey, yeah, okay, you should probably go because you've had a pre-screening test or something, or if you've got a familial history, they suggest that you go. But all of these tests can save lives, so it's important that people get those things checked. And then they give you the green light. Yes, you don't have to come back for 5 years. Yeah, you got to come back next year. We found something. So it's always important to get those uncomfortable things out of the way, okay? All right, so let's talk about some lab levels, especially when it relates to MPNs, chronic disease, things like that. All right. So different results at different labs have these are just approximate results from different labs, okay? Your lab may have slightly different results, okay? So hemoglobin. What does hemoglobin do? So, all right, so in hemoglobin, let me move that out of the way. It's a part of your red blood cell, okay? We talked about a red blood cell before. Let's get my little guy here. All right, your little red blood cell guy here, okay? All right, so it brings oxygen to your muscles, to your to your muscles and your tissues, okay? It also, while it's running around your body, grabs onto carbon dioxide, okay? Takes it back to your lungs, okay? And then your lungs can then release it out of your body, okay? Carbon dioxide is a byproduct after your body uses different things, okay? And then it lets it back out, okay? Hemoglobin is also something that gives blood its red color, okay? Some people don't know that either. Okay. In an MPN, a myeloproliferative neoplasm disorder, we don't like our hemoglobin is usually pretty high, on the higher end, because our tissues are starving for oxygen, because they're usually irregularly shaped. They're usually larger, they're different sizes, and they don't carry oxygen as efficiently, okay? It's just a fact of our disease. Hemoglobin levels. Make sure I get this correct, because there's different values for different genders and different ages. So for males, it's about 13.5 to 18 grams per deciliter, okay? In females, it's about 12 to 15. Okay, and in children, it's 11 to 16 grams per deciliter, okay? And it's, let's see here. When hemoglobin, they tell us that your hemoglobin is 13. It's normal. And you're like, oh, okay, then why am I so tired? And they're like, well, you shouldn't be tired. And you're like, wait, but I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I can sleep 20 hours a day. And they're like, well, all your labs are normal. No, this is the difference between an MPN specialist and a chronic disease specialist and your regular hematologist, oncologist, okay, and the specialist. That is one of the reasons that we need the MPN specialist. Our hemoglobin is normal. However, we're still very, very fatigued. That's the difference between a functional medicine doctor and just a regular doctor. Sometimes our bodies don't like the normal levels of things, okay? Or we cannot have the normal levels of things. And we'll discuss the iron levels and things like that. So our hemoglobin levels are usually pretty normal in an MPN. Or in polycythemiavera, you usually have very high levels, which makes your blood very thick, which can clot, of hemoglobin, okay? And that is the red blood cell portion, okay, kind of. That's the hemoglobin portion of it, okay? It's not necessarily a red blood cell, but it is the hemoglobin portion of it, okay? Now, hematocrit. Hematocrit is a little bit different. It is the portion of red blood cells in your blood, okay? It goes by a percentage, okay? And the reason we measure this is because they want to know how much red blood cells are in your blood, because we have a lot of different stuff in our blood, okay? So we have what's called plasma. Where's my little guys at? Where are my little creatures at here? Let me find my little creatures here. Oh, my little creatures fell off the table. Hang on little second here. My creatures fell off. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we have plasma in our blood. Okay, this is the main component in our blood. Oh, can you see him? Here we go. I can never get that right. I always go backwards for some reason. Okay, plasma is the yellow stuff in our blood. If you've ever seen them draw a tube and then they spin your blood, the serum that's at the top and then the red blood cells go to the bottom on some of the blood tubes. Okay, serum. This is about 50% of your blood, 55, okay? It all depends on how hydrated you are and what's going on in your body system, okay? And then you have, this is like proteins, electrolytes, vitamins, salts, sugars, okay? That's all about this little creature deature right here, okay? Then you have platelets, okay? Where's my little platelet guy here? Platelets, okay? And he's about 1%, okay? And, you know, we know about platelets. We'll talk about them. But your hematocrit, okay, that's how many red blood cells are in there. Now, in this portion, this is how many red blood cell, the percentage. Now, in a MPN, we like that percentage to be below 42. So if you're not hydrated enough, the plasma portion could be off, okay? And that this red blood cell part will be higher than your plasma portion. This is why we need to stay hydrated, okay? Our body likes everything to be very, very balanced, okay? Now, if you have like heart failure and you are holding on to fluids, and you'll know if you are, your legs are very, they're very puffy, they're very edematous, they're very swollen, okay? And you're holding fluid in your legs, maybe even your left leg or your right leg, okay? Or maybe they tell you hold fluid in your chest, okay? All of these things are heart failure related. That means you have a lot, you're not, or you have bad kidneys, okay? You're holding on to a lot of water, so your plasma level is very, very high, okay? You have a lot of water in there, okay? It means you have a very low hematocrit level, very low red blood cells. Does that kind of make sense, I hope, to everybody? And then our white blood cells that we have, okay, which we have a bunch of different kinds. Which one is this one? That's an antibody. We have a lot of other different things in there, but we also have white blood cells, and that's about 1% to 4%. Okay, it depends on our, like, do we have infection, like heart failure, our red blood cells can be up to 45%. They can go higher, they can go 55, depending on how hydrated things we are. So that's why. But hematocrit levels in males can be anywhere from 40 to 54%. That's these are the normal ranges, by the way, that I'm giving you. And they vary per lab, things of that sort. But in an MPN, no matter whether you're male or female, we don't like it to go over 42%. Why? Because you start to form clots after that. So that's when in PV patients, they'll start to do the phlebotomy. And then in ET patients, they will make sure that you're not forming clots. They'll start drawing D-dimers on you and things. They may even do a little bit of phlebotomy. D-dimers are they're checking for clots, okay, to make sure that your little platelets here aren't stacking together. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit more. In females, it's the normal range is about 36 to 48. Okay, these are just generalizations. In children, it's 32 to 42. Okay, so but again, these just generalizations. Okay, and then let's see here. Also, if your hematocrit is really, really high, you could be dehydrated. Some of the other reasons your hematocrit is high, wanted to make sure to mention all of these things. Polycythemiavera, essential thrombocytopenia. These are two reasons. MPNs is what we call them. How about heart disease? Okay, especially right-sided heart failure. Okay, it could be high because of that. Dehydration. Okay, so make sure we're drinking. That's important. Scarring of your lungs, which means your body's not taking care of fluid the way it should be. Okay, your body does use your lungs do a lot of things. Okay, as in fibrosis. Okay. So it is very important. All those people who had COVID and things, you need to be mindful of the fluids that you drink, how your body's taking care of it. We need to be paying attention to all of those situations, okay? How about obstructive sleep apnea? Did anybody ever, everybody hates that lovely machine that we have to wear with the big hose and the Darth Vader mask, okay? You guys don't understand how important that machine really is and how important it is to take care of obstructive sleep apnea, okay? That affects your heart, it affects your breathing, it affects so many things. I want people to hear this. Please take care of that. Yes, it's hard to get used to that mask on the face. If you have to, it took my father about several months to get used to that mask, but he did it. And when he finally did, guess what? Now he doesn't sleep without it. He increased his heart function. He increased his kidney function. I mean, it did so many wonderful things for him. He put it on his face for 20 seconds, took it off. 20 seconds, took it off. Eventually, he got used to it. The pressure's too much. I don't like it. I hate it. You have to get used to it. The doctors know what they're doing. Eventually, it will save your life. Okay? Look into different surgeries. Look into different things. But that machine or the surgery that you're going to have to correct your condition will save your life. Okay? Breathing is not optional. Okay? And it will help you significantly. Okay? So obstructive sleep apnea is not something to play with. And everyone hates the machine, but most people need it. Okay? Smoking. Smoking is something that will also cause your hematocrit to go up. Okay? Because your red blood cells, your body is starving for oxygen, so it increases your red blood cell use. Okay? It increases it because your body is starving for oxygen. Okay? Again, vaping is not an option. Quit smoking is hard. Vaping is not the answer to stop smoking. So please, if you can, please stop smoking. It is very difficult, especially if you're a lifelong smoker. Everything in your body is definitely addicted to smoking. So please, if you can, it will help you. Ask your friends, your family to help you. Yes, you're going to be grouchy. Yes, you're going to be a little nasty. Yes, you're going to put on some weight. But find other ways and ask for some help, okay? If you have to do hypnosis, whatever you got to do. There's a lot of communities out there that can help you. And we'll do whatever we can on this page as well to help you with that as well. Easy? No. But you can do it. I have faith in you. You can do it. You got it. How about iron and ferritin levels and what do they do? Okay. Ferritin. You guys some people know what it is, some people don't. Okay, so ferritin is, it holds on to iron and it releases it when the body needs it. Okay? It mainly holds it in the liver and in the spleen and in a couple of areas in the body, like bone marrow, things like that, but mainly in the spleen and in the liver, okay? In an MPN, usually we have very low iron levels, And the reason being is if we have too much iron, our body just grabs it and uses it to overproduce in our bone marrow. Here's Mr. Bones. He's all ready to go here, right in his long bone, right here. In his leg bones here, okay? You guys see his legs? Woo, toes. In his leg bones. It'll just keep producing. As much iron as we give it, it will continue to produce. So we generally don't have a lot of iron stores for that reason. Okay, and they don't recommend us having iron infusions unless we are almost nothing. No ferritin levels and no iron levels, okay? I did not know this until I went to an MPN expert in Florida. Mine was ridiculously low. And when I had inquired on why they weren't giving me any oral supplements and things like this, that is when the doctor stated they don't give them to them unless they are critically low and their hemoglobin is extremely low. And mine was normal. And I still had a teeny little bit of iron. I think my iron level was 7. And I forgot what my ferritin level was. I want to say I think my ferritin was 10. So we'll talk about what the lab levels are on that. But it was extremely low. And but he said absolutely not. And we're not to have very high levels of high iron foods either, because our body will continually use them. Okay, so that's one of our things for MPNs. Okay, we're not to have all of that extra iron because our body will use it. But then again, that's also why we're chronically tired. Okay, we don't have, our body uses iron for so many processes. Let me see here. Immune system, energy, focus, gastrointestinal processes. We regulate our temperature with it. You know, we're always hot or we're always cold. Some of our hormones even use iron, okay? And iron is essential to make a red blood cell, making hemoglobin specifically. No iron, no hemoglobin. No hemoglobin, no red blood cells. So it kind of is a double-edged sword there. However, we make in abundance. So that's why we keep it nice and low. So if your hemoglobin is normal, you know, ask your doctor, hey, and is your doctor running normal iron levels on you? To find out exactly what it is. What are your iron levels? If you do take an iron supplement orally, if you have a chronic disease, a different type of disease or something, or if your doctor does order it for you, you may notice that your stools are kind of like a greenish color. Okay, it can also make you constipated. You may want to stop that before you take a colonoscopy or a colon test, because it could come out positive for blood in your stool. Okay, because iron is a type of hemoglobin. It will show up positive as for blood in your stool. Okay, so make sure that if you are taking an iron supplement of some sort, that you stop that before you do a colonoscopy of any sort. Okay, let me see here. Where's ferritin? What were the ferritin levels? Let me double check. Let me see here. Ferritin levels. So your ferritin levels for a man should be between, they're a huge range now, 24 to 336 nanograms per milliliter. Huge range, I told you, huge. For women, 24 to about 307 nanograms per milliliter. And for children, 7 to 140. I said huge range right there for ferritin. And I said, I think mine was about 10 when I had went and got mine. I was like, oh my goodness, no wonder I'm tired. Should I be taking a supplement? And he went, absolutely not. your hemoglobin is 14 or something. You know, you're fine. Don't worry about it. And if you take it, it's just going to raise it, and blood's going to get thicker. You're going to end up with a clot. Don't take nothing. Okay, but I'm tired. Well, yeah, you know, that's the disease. Alright, whatever. I guess I'll just take a nap. So, now iron lab results. Two different things. Iron grabs onto it in the, you know, that's readily available right here, you know. It's already available. Ferritin is stored when your body needs it. It's stored for later. It's like in the freezer. You're waiting to make dinner later on. The stuff in the freezer already defrosted is the stuff you're going to make for dinner tonight. Okay, so that's iron. Okay, iron labs. Men, 50 to 150 micrograms per deciliter. Women, I'm going to post this on the site too, so y'all have the numbers, so you don't have to worry about writing them down. I had it on a whiteboard, but the whiteboard was so shiny, y'all, it would just drove y'all nuts. So I just thought, I'll forget it. I'll make a little sheet and whatever and put it on there for you. All right, women were 35 to 145 micrograms per deciliter, and children were 50 to 120 micrograms per deciliter. I knew I was not going to remember. Now these are estimates because like your lab might be very slightly, okay? So these are just estimates. These are not exact. So your lab may have 47 to 121 for children. So they're slightly different, okay? So, platelets. Itty bitty little tiny cells, about 1% of your blood. 1, 2%, maybe 0.5%, something like that. They stick together and stop your body from bleeding. It's kind of like acts like a band-aid if your body starts bleeding, okay? Your platelet level should be about 150 to 450. Micrograms per liter, okay? So, some of us with essential thrombocytopenia and PV are over 1 million, okay? 700,000, 900,000. That's why we clot. We get clots all over the place. Our legs hurt. We get clots in our legs. Okay, we get clots in arteries, fast-moving arteries instead of just veins. Okay, and that's part of the problem. So, but that's a generalization, that number. Men, now again, generalization, it says 120 to 370. Huge range, okay? Again, huge range. It's not like itty-bitty, it's huge. Women, 140 to 450. And then children, 165 to 470. Okay? Again, it's going to vary per lab, that kind of thing, okay? So, again, now, these are just generalizations. But again, we don't want to be clotting, we don't want to be, all these different things. We need to be mindful. We need to use the same lab. We need to find out. We need to be asking questions. Do I need iron? Should I have iron? Why wouldn't I need iron? Why am I so tired? We need to be asking our doctor these very important questions. Make sure that we're going to places that understand our needs, okay? That's one of the other things, okay, that we're taking. Oh, do I need to take this medication? Why am I taking this medication? We need to be asking these questions. My lab levels haven't gone down from last month, and they're still very high. Is it time to change medications? Things like that. So paying very close attention to your lab levels and what they're doing is also very important, and questioning the doctor. If you don't like the answers the doctor is giving you and you're not getting any better, it might be time to change doctors, because maybe they're not paying attention, maybe they haven't noticed that you didn't have a change, maybe something has changed in you. So that's where you need to be your own advocate, okay? Also, sometimes having someone else with you, maybe they can hear something the doctor said that you missed, because maybe you're just not thinking clearly when the doctor's speaking, or something to that effect. So it's always very, very important that we have another set of ears there sometimes, because sometimes we get upset about a result, or we're fixated on something and we're just not paying any attention, okay? So all of these things are very, very important, okay? I will post these lab results for you. If y'all can please like and share, and subscribe to the channel. It will not allow me to go live because I don't have enough subscribers to go live, so I have to record it and then go and then post it. So if you can share these things around, okay, and then it'd be very, very grateful. And then I will continue to post a few things and make sure that I get out as much information to you guys as I can, when I can. And we want to make sure that you guys, everyone stays as healthy as possible. It makes for a much happier world when people are happy and they feel like they're being listened to, and they're happy, and they're living their best life. So let's all work together and let's do this, okay? So thrive when life hands you lemons, right? And I hope to see you guys real soon, and I will see about getting some more lab results for you. Let me see, what would we talk about next time? We'll talk about some more lab results. We'll get in some more into some more diagnostics, okay? We will get into some more information about why, what else we need to do for our MPNs, okay? We talked about iron and whether or not we should have it. We need to consult our doctors about that, and what I have found out about my particular situation. So let's all work on that, okay? So let's communicate with our doctors, communicate with each other, and let's see what we can do, okay? All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope everybody has a phenomenal week. Thank you.